Now we can ask ourselves, what is a variable? So in Python, a variable is a name assigned to a memory location in the computer, which is used to hold a value. And to create a variable in Python, we use the assignment operator, which is the equal symbol. We have some examples here. For example, the variable x, which takes the value 5. We have a variable called number of apples that we can initialize with 10. Price per apple, which is a floating point variable, which will get the value 0.99. We have also string variables, which like a combination of characters, like Alice, which we assign to the variable character underscore name. And there is also variable which can hold Boolean values like true or false. In Python, be careful, true or false always start with an uppercase. These are the examples that we saw before. Now they are in a Python file. I just called it variables and it is inside a project that I have created. At the moment, this project is doing nothing apart from assigning values to the given variables. What we can do with the variable is then use the print statement to display their values. For example, here we want to display number of apples. Actually, what we are asking Python to do is to display the value inside this variable, or the value that this variable is holding. Let's run this code and see what happens. So here we initialize number of apples with 10. When we say print number of apples, we see that 10 is displayed. We can also do operations with print. So let's say we want to display the value which is within number of apple plus 10, and then we print the result of this calculation. So if we run this, I will expect to have 20. And it is also what we get, because Python will execute first this calculation and then print the result. What we can do also is to put this calculation in a variable. Let's call this result. And we assign the calculation. And then we print result at the end so that we can go step by step. Here we have still 20. Because what the Python interpreter does, it starts the program and executes it line by line. Here the first line is the assignment to number of apples, followed by the price per apple, and then the two following variable, and then it does this arithmetic calculation, and it works this way. First, the right side of the operation is calculated or processed, and then the result or the value resulting is assigned to the variable here. And next we want to print this variable, and we see that the content is displayed here as 20. If we modify this, let's say this is 24, what happens if we print the value of number of apples? What do you think? Do you think the value of number of apples has changed? Let's see. So it hasn't changed. The value of result changes because number of apple is 10 at this point. We add to it 24. We do the calculation and assign the result to the variable named result. And then we print that result. And here we see that the value of number of apple has not changed. This is because in order to change the value of a variable, you need to do a new assignment to it somewhere in your code. So let's say here we say number of apples is now equal to 35. What will happen is now we modify the value of number of apples, and it is no longer 10, it is 35. So maybe we need to display this twice so that you can see the difference. So 34 is the first print in the whole code. The second print is the print for number of apples. It hasn't changed its value since the assignment, so it is still 10. That's why you see the 10 here. And then after that, we modify the value of number of apples. We assign the new value 35, and then we display that new value, which is 35. So this is a little bit how Python execute the code. It is always line by line from top to bottom. And you have different type of variable, or variable can hold information from different type. There are some rules that we need to consider when we are declaring variable in Python. A variable in Python must always start with either a letter or the underscore character. It will never start with a number. And also, a variable name will only contain alphanumeric character, like the letters between A and Z, or between 0 and 9, or the underscore. That are the only characters that are allowed when you are declaring a variable. And also, variables are case sensitive. This means if you just change the case of one letter in a variable, it's not the same, it is no longer the same variable anymore. So for example, age with lowercase a and age with uppercase A are two different variables. And to avoid confusion when you are doing your code, just use the same case all the time. Like if you are using age in lowercase, just avoid using another variable with the same letters but with uppercase or something like that. It will avoid confusion down the line. So here you have three different cases for writing the variable age, and this means three different variables, and Python will consider that these are three different variables. They have nothing to do with each other. And if you are writing a variable using different name, like for example, my variable, just separate the different word of the variable with an underscore. It increases the readability when somebody is reading your code, and also for yourself after a couple of days. There are also some other kind of writing variable names. For example, the camel case, where you use for each word always the uppercase at the beginning. But in Python, the convention is when you are declaring variable, it is better to use the underscore to separate the word within the variable name. And this is called snake case convention.